Regular study with the teacher helps us to understand and appreciate where we are heading to. But when you contemplate and reflect alone, why don't you think, even 1 hour I find 1 hour time twice a week is so difficult. I'm so busy. Why I'm busy? I'm always on Instagram. So that will not work. So I've been saying consistent, regular study with the teacher is to make the concept and principles clear and repeat listening. Repeat listening that now you are listening to your own mind. Repeat listening to your own mind means contemplation and reflection will change the delusion to dispassion. And you will see that you are always in meditation. You are always in that state of mindfulness. Because you live into that state of discernment and dispassion. Can I hold my nose from the other side? Can you hold it? No. This is the way of the delusion. I always try to hold my nose and touch my nose from putting my hands on the other side. That is the nature of the delusion. We always like to find peace and happiness, which is situational. Are you getting it? Which is relational, which picks up the objects, people, things, and there we fall into the delusion. So when there is a delusion, there is no dispassion. When there is a delusion, there is no discernment. So when there is no discernment and dispassion, delusion will take over. So this series is very important. Each and every verse is so crafted so that we can go deep inside our head and contemplate and reflect where the delusion is. You are in stress, you are crying, you have problems. And the moment you remove the delusion, the next moment you are happy, you are calm, you are relaxed. That is the power of hammering the delusion. That is the power of this text. That is why we say delusion is ignorance. It is false perception. It is false perception. It is confusion about reality. It is seeing happiness in outer things. It is required, but it is not a priority. Now I'm using the phrases you should keep in your head. It is not a priority. When it is not a priority, then I'm not getting carried away. Oh, the phone is buzzing, so let me check. No, it's not a priority. It's not a priority. Finished. Are you seeing that? How to get rid of the delusion? It's not a priority. So false perception is not a priority. Confusion is not a priority. Obviously, I fall into discernment and dispassion. Delusion causes the suffering because we chase unreal happiness outside ourselves. We chase happiness outside ourselves. Don't we understand? Yes, we understand. But still, outer world is a priority for me, and that is bound to cause the delusion. It's a matter of awareness. You have understood the principle, you have reflected on it, now you know instantly. Now you see the reverse part. Do I have an anxiety? Oh, delusion. Where the delusion is, let me recognize it. What is? There is a delusion. I cannot catch the nose from the other side. Hold on. Calm down. And I can tell you, you instantly calm down. Instantly. Even if you have been crying for hours. We are relaxed and calm. So there is another understanding this master gives, that delusion is caused by the ego. Whether you say it's a mind, you say reflected consciousness, it is the ego mind. So what ego mind is always looking? It is looking for peace and happiness in attachment, in aversion, in mistaken identification. It is constantly searching. Then I will come, slowly I'm just laying a foundation for the another verse. Like the dog chasing its tail. You have already seen. We run after the things that cannot provide lasting fulfillment. Where there is no lasting fulfillment, but my false assumption is that it will give the lasting fulfillment. Obviously, it's a delusion. So, result: unwanted worries, problems, harmful attitude, prevents peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. We start living in fantasy. I have to contemplate and reflect. When there is anxiety, duality, conflict, tension, and pressure, whether it is situational, whether it pertains to relationship, whether it pertains to any object outside in the world. And that delusion takes over the mind. It veils the mind, it strips the wisdom. And it demands an average intelligence, average understanding. Average mind can easily understand that ignorance has taken over me. So delusion will constantly operate when we identify ourselves with ego. It is conditional. So sometimes we can't recognize our ego tendency, but we recognize the delusion. So it is constantly operate. What is ego? It is a separate I. It is the I that does not exist. It is the I that does not exist. That is why our master says self-awareness, self-inquiry, gaining wisdom, practice of meditation, practicing understanding what is attachment and non-attachment. You cannot practice non-attachment, but understand where is the attachment. It opens the inner peace and happiness. We talk of unconditional love. So find out where is the conditional reality I am attached to. So when I have a conditional nature in my relationship with, means I'm dependent on that particular object or a person. And the strongest identification is the bodily identification. Body identification. I am Girish. Now see that I am Girish. I know Eastern wisdom. So now there is an identification has started with the body, with the name. And if I stick to this name in the form, there is a problem. Because knowledge is independent of the body, of the name in the form. What the Sam was saying, it's a Girish Google. No, it's not Girish Google. How can it be Girish Google? Knowledge is independent. That needs to be understood. It has nothing to do with me and my knowledge is independent. Knowledge remains the same. Knowledge does not change. Knowledge about Sam, knowledge about Jerry will never change. But my perception changes. So I have to check whether my perception has changed. It is causing my anxiety and duality. Then I have to get rid of it. It is done. Now you all have been for years together in learning this Eastern wisdom. Now I have to work on my mind at every moment. The Master says that delusion causes the suffering because we chase illusion, fantasies, and cling to the things that cannot provide lasting happiness. It prevents us from seeing the truth. It prevents the self-knowledge. So instead, no, I don't recognize, I don't have. Ego is a technical term in Eastern wisdom. It is not opposite of vanity. It is not opposite of arrogance. We are not talking of that. That is a manifestation. So when we say ego, it is an I thought. I love this. I like this. I always do this. My insistence on I thought. I like coffee. Why don't you like it? Unnecessary. Unnecessary. I'm more beautiful than you. Unnecessary. So that gives rise to the delusion. So when we have a delusion in relationship, we have unrealistic expectations of others. We have over-dependence on the outer situation for happiness. It may be regarding the wealth, it may be regarding anything. I told you, we need to earn, it is required, it is not a priority. I'm just using an American way. It is required. Good things are required, but it is not a priority. Good things in the world are required, but it is not a priority. When it is not a priority, you are free. So we have to question our assumption, biases through self-inquiry and meditation. Again, come back. And I've been saying, I don't recognize our ego. We don't recognize normally. So find out, do you have an anxiety? Do you have a duality? Do you have a conflict in relationship with pertaining to the object and anything? No. Find out. It is because of that ego. Through right knowledge, through non-attachment, I can tell you that you enter into a higher consciousness instantly, just by contemplation and reflection. So, the very first verse, do you remember? The Master says, foolishness. So I have to recognize what exactly, is there any foolishness in my head that is working with reference to a person, with reference to a relationship, with reference to any situation or a condition? Get rid of it. Situation is situation outside. My mind in delusion says it is a difficult situation. He is a difficult guy. He is a difficult guy. But if you ask that difficult guy, he says, I'm as easy as you are. Do you see that? No, I'm easy. So I have to recognize that perception. The second verse we have understood, choose intellect. When you choose intellect, you choose the cause and effect relationship. When you choose the cause and effect relationship, you have a clear understanding over emotions. The mind is driven by the emotions and the impulses. I'm coming to the main verse today, where I have to lay a foundation in a different way so that you don't feel bad about it. But this master has nothing to do whether you feel bad or good about it. He has to say it. He has to say it. Judging by appearances, infatuation rooted in the physical appeal disregards personality and character. Do you see that? We value the social status over shared humanity, harbors prejudice and disconnection. That is one of the major reasons, and which is happening everywhere. I don't know my neighbor. We have been living almost for 6, 7 years. And that also happens sometime in the family. Another verse that we covered, health and vitality are fleeting. Diseases can suddenly steal our strength, vigor, and freedom. So I have to live with the fact. I have to live from moment to moment. As our health fades, so do superficial bonds, relationship require reciprocity, not one-sided dependence. I have to check myself. Am I dependent? Dependency will definitely results into delusion. But you need not to say, you go home and you need not to say, honey, from today I'm not dependent on you. It has to be practiced inside. You have to live into that awareness. You have to live into that awareness. The last time I covered a dead body. Dead body is there, I say body is on the floor. When a person is there, I don't say the body has come. So this master says that why don't you contemplate? Do you remember that one day we all have to leave this body? A dead body is like a vacant house. Vacant house means the one I am has left the body. Now it is an empty shell. And there is a one practice, now which basically belong to the tantra tradition. It has been borrowed to the Buddhism. So that sect of Buddhism we have in Arunachal Pradesh, northeastern area. So there, the first teaching of meditation or mindfulness is that you every day you go to a cremation ground and you sit there. You watch the body is burning and finished. One body has come, young body, old body, mother, father, it has come and it is burned. So that while looking and reflecting on that, you know One day you recognize that, oh, it is my body. And still I'm different than the body. That is basically a Tantra tradition. So here the master is saying that don't go there, but sit inside, sit with yourself, contemplate and reflect. The dead body is just like a scrapped leftovers after a meal. It serves its purpose for sustenance when alive, but now should be promptly cleaned and disposed of. I'm just using his word. Couple of the masters. Dead body is like a rotten fruit that needs to be tossed out. I have to look more and more. I look into this, contemplate and reflect. I de-identify myself with the body. De-identification with the body is a must. It is mandatory. Body is already de-identified with pure consciousness. Consciousness and the body are two different entities. When I say I am, this I am is not the body. That body is like a discontinued merchandise. You have to coin those words. Let us see. Let us see. In deep sleep, I am not the body and the mind. And a dead body is like an abundant property. No one is inhabiting it anymore. I have to, no? This is very, that's why I wanted to come to this concept. I have to contemplate and reflect. Normally say, no, 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 don't talk about the death. Don't talk about, no, 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 no. We need not to be scared about it. So as long as there is a fear of death means it is a delusion, it is pertaining to the body. It is not pertaining to me. So what happens if I don't have that level of awareness where I see that I am not the body? Now see, I am not the body. Now just reverse it. I am the body. Then what happens? First, I am the body. My mind, impulsive mind, either I may become glutton pertaining to the body, greed pertaining to the body, lust pertaining to the body, addiction pertaining to the body. See that? So we have a different approach for de-addiction, binge eating. But when I'm totally obsessed with the body, then only I have a binge eating, greed, lust, addiction, gluttony. Then for all the practical purposes, I am the body. And I need a gratification of the body. That is one of the greatest delusions. Then I'm constantly running. I am focusing my time and energy on gratifying the physical desires while ignoring priority. It is required. Body nourishment is required, but it is not a priority. You make it a priority, you are bound to suffer. Because your mind impulsively, instinctively will start thinking, oh, look at this, his nose is so beautiful, my nose is not. Just you get upset over small things. Think. We have to contemplate. The master has come to help us to understand that how this body identification causes so much of delusion. I should use it. Body as an instrument. Every time, you wake up in the morning and you have an urge to go to the washroom. Okay, body, I'm using you to go there. I'm using this to nourish. Body identification causes lot of problems. You have a very strong identification since your childhood. Now, what happens as you grow older, you will spend more time in front of a mirror. You have to spend. Oh, what happened? Eye bags have come out. Nobody is looking at your eye bags. Take care, it is required, but it is not a priority. Don't get obsessed with it. Body identification, I told you, it results into somewhere I have written, I did not find that. Because of the body identification, there are 50 layers of the delusion that takes over our life. I've collected from the different sources. So gluttony, greed, lust, addiction, these are the few examples. When intellect is 100% clear, I am not the body. You don't feel inferior whether you are. You don't feel inferior because of your shape, size, color. Have you seen that, a lot of people in our country have a sense of inferiority? Some people commit suicide because they feel they have become obese. They don't look nice. They will not get married. You can extend it to more than 50 areas where we have a lot of challenges. It's very important. And then mind is constantly focuses its energy there. And then your mind becomes more obsessive and impulsive. This is the one verse. Next time we'll take up another verse. That what happens, our desires and the wants keep on changing. And who changes? The mind and delusion. So mind and delusion, you get out of the delusion, you find out what is required at this particular age. You go for it, but you don't depend on it. What happens? Your mind is clear. Mind is in peace all the time. That helps you to rise in higher awareness. You live into that higher state of the consciousness. My dear friend, it is required in modern world, it is required. What you said, Sam was saying, Instagram. And what else? Instagram, LinkedIn. It is required, but I should not be obsessed with it. Knowledge cannot be found there. Knowledge cannot be found there. Let us close your eyes, and eyes are closed. Find out the most comfortable position of your body. Most comfortable position, my friends. You know what is most comfortable. You see that knowledge and experience have started from the very start, from the very beginning of the practice. Knowledge, comfortable. And experience, are you comfortable? So when the knowledge is assimilated completely into your mind, what happens then? You recognize being comfortable. You don't recognize, I have to become comfortable. When you want to become comfortable, then what? Then what happens? Then you continue to move your body, you start stretching, and you want to feel as if you will become comfortable if you stretch. No! Just an awareness of the body. All the parts experiencing the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Finished. Are you carefree? I have been paying too much of attention in these two steps. I have explained you in 50 different ways. No, I don't remember even a single one because you are not contemplating and reflecting. You don't pay attention to the practice given to you in every session. So you are aware means all these thoughts, feeling, emotions, all the experiences in the mind that is taking place. That is how the mind wants me to be carefree. Mind cares me too much and I'm carefree from the mind. So then what happens every day in the morning? Why I stress again, my friends, even when we are not meeting in a session, please don't forget this mantra. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. The moment you wake up in the morning and the first thing you say, Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Why I say that? You will recognize your mind, which has an impulsive, reactive nature, it will dissolve. That is more important than anything else. Happiness is our essential nature, and I am praying happiness is the essential nature to be known by everyone. Now you see that we all know that happiness is our essential nature. Will there be a fight, anger, anxiety, duality, and a conflict in our life? Just contemplate and reflect. No. So I am changing my mind from delusion to discernment and dispassion, recognizing the happiness in me. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. This is our Instagram. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. I communicate to my mind that peace is my essential nature. And so is the nature of everyone. Is peace the property of the body? Answer is no. Body keeps on changing. Whatever is changing, it cannot be the permanent peace. Instantly I recognize and I enter into higher awareness. Finished. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. You keep on doing every day without fail. At least for 5 to 10 minutes you contemplate. Before you do any activity, just after waking up, you do it without fail for 3 weeks, and after third week, let me know what happens. That layer of the delusion is gone. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Completeness in all. A sense of incompleteness breeds insecurity, dissatisfaction, anxiety, duality, and a conflict. They all are the expressions of delusion. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness. I have to I have to bring a clarity and conviction. The very existence outside is for the blessing and the grace. my mind converts it into a difficult, challenging situation because of my expectations. Situation does not change me, person does not change me. And in that state, look inside the forehead. Do you remember the three-pointed awareness or four-pointed? Sometimes I convert into 3 and 4 points. You should remember. First point of awareness, steadiness in the body. Second point of awareness, you're looking inside the forehead in the space. Third point of awareness, you're dropping Om Shanti there. And the fourth point, you start breathing quick and short and gentle breath through both the nostrils, as if you enduring it, as if you have started the journey and you don't want to end it. There is no resistance and reaction by the mind, but you find the experience changing and you recognize and accept it. It's a pointer. Not only you recognize that you keep on doing the breathing, but you also recognize it as if the breathing, your breathing to both the nostrils are equal. It would be a wonderful thing. So not only you recognize the flow of the nostril, you continue the journey, steadiness in the body, you're dropping the Om Shanti. This multitasking will change your mind. The multitasking outside is not going to change your mind. It will make you habitual and conditional. Just continue breathing. Find your breathing is so natural. Your mind has accepted the step. It wants to continue. There is no resistance. There is no movement in the body. In that moment, you can discover that you are already living into a higher state of awareness, higher state of consciousness. Just continue breathing into the rib cage. Om Shanti continues. You are aware of the flow of the nostrils in the state of the steadiness in the body. I'm not bragging, but this kind of a meditation practices you won't find anywhere, because we engage every knowledge that we learn into the practice. That is the uniqueness, and you remain conscious. You need not to, you don't fall into unconsciousness. You know what you're doing, and I know what I'm giving. And stop it. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. That is our new step that we have started doing. Just pay attention to the flow of the breath. Whichever flow is less, you pay more attention there in the state of the steadiness. And you will recognize that the more you pay attention to the flow of the breath on the nostril, which is the less flow, both the flow becomes equal. I'll tell you the story next time of a great master I met. And I was his personal secretary for 3 years. Not my master. The control over the flow of the breath gives you a very intuitive power. And now looking inside, again inside the forehead, Om Shanti, steadiness in the body. Start breathing from the belly. It's a longer breath. You expand your belly while inhaling and contract your belly while exhaling. You inhale, the belly expands like a balloon. You contract, the belly squeezes like a balloon. And Om Shanti continues. Om Shanti continues, my friends. Please continue. Continue. Your mind will say, no, it is too much. That is, you have to endure it. Just tell the mind, I will continue doing it. Recognize and accept the changes, and if the mind resists, you endure it and continue doing it. And stop this, allow the breath to be normal, and maintain your awareness on the breath. So you will recognize, what is going to happen if you are practicing regularly. The flow of the breath through both the nostrils will become equal, and in that state of equanimity of the breath, you will recognize that now the mind is just absorbed into the space. The same kind of self absorption that you realize in the last step of this meditation. You understand what I mean? So that is why I'm just asking you to keep on paying attention on the flow of the breath. Whichever the flow is less, you pay more attention there. And once you find within some time, it happens in a minute, and sometime it takes little time. This is the second step that you can do during the day. One is the mantra I told you, and early in the morning, another 5 minutes, you pay attention on the flow of the breath, just without breathing. And during the day also, couple of times. Whether you're walking, sitting, talking, and let us see what happens. And now looking inside the forehead again, checking the state of steadiness in the body. And inside the head, you start dropping Om Shanti and start breathing long, deep in the hissing breath, both from the belly and the rib cage. Pay attention, you inhale, expand your belly and the rib cage, and you exhale, squeeze your belly and the rib cage. So your belly and the rib cage are moving, keeping the other rest of the body still. You will find unusual experiences. Recognize and accept it. Do nothing. And continue with Om Shanti. Continue breathing. You see your body moves? No way. In the beginning, we have to follow this guidance, these guidelines. After all, after that, even if you move your body, because you have already internalized your mind, so it will not make a difference. But in the beginning, we're stepping into a little deeper state. Long, deep in the hissing breath, resistance endure it, experiences recognize and accept it, but your focus on doing the breathing, Om Shanti, continues. And it's not a big deal. You all can do it. It demands an awareness only. Again, I am telling you. You bypass your impulsive and the instinctive nature, and anyone can do it in the very first session. And that is what I observe and watch. And leave your awareness on the flow of the nostril. Allow the breath to be normal, and you already know, just keep on paying attention. So when you do this flow, awareness of the flow of the breath through both the nostrils during the day, maybe a couple of times, maybe 5 or 6 times during the day for about a week and or 2 weeks. So what is going to happen that you can't imagine? The time has come. So both the mantra plus the breath. And now the Om Shanti on 16 segments of a finger. So just pay attention, don't be mechanical. Body is already in the state of stillness, mind is already withdrawn inside. So, do you remember I said mind's eye, mind's tongue, mind's ear, mind's touch? So, when you're saying Om Shanti, instantly your mind looks at, mind's eye looks at the first segment as if it is touching, mind's skin touches Om Shanti. So it depends on your state of the mind on a given day. Om Shanti, and your mind is absorbed there itself. So their absorption has two facets. One is habitual absorption, means that mind is carried away by some thought and impulses, and you fall into subconscious domain. And that you can recognize. The other is that you are consciously aware and keep on doing Om Shanti. Who has to recognize you? Do you see a finer line of advancing into the practice of our meditation that we have been doing? We have an extreme fear, the mind becomes blank. And we consciously recognize the emptiness and the blankness of the mind. That is meditation. And other is delusion. So we'll gradually separate these two experiences of self-absorption. Why? To live in a higher awareness all the time. Why? To awaken to the real self. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. You're doing a step at the same time you have a recognition of your state. Now, if that recognition of a state continues even during the day, you're progressing in this journey. Or you return to the same old habit of impulses, then we are not progressing. Now, leave that step, move your mind deep inside the cave of your heart, equilateral triangle pointing upward, three-pointed awareness. Just recognize movement of the mind, movement, awareness of the side of a triangle, and Om Shanti. Clockwise, anti-clockwise. And you're doing it such in a carefree manner, care with awareness and attention. And you discover that now I'm able to follow the sync. There is almost a sync. What is that meaning of the sync? You experience that sync, everything is going so smoothly. At that moment, singing mentally. So now this singing of Om is pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. Mind seemingly stops, and there you say Shanti, finished, and you are into the state of self-absorption. Absorption opens the door to insight, intuition, and awakening. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand Your awareness on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences. And if you have any question, how are you, Sir Sam?
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir.
The meditation was great and very deep. I felt that I didn't quite need the entire set of the breathing to get to the place. So when I was ready to leave it, I did.
Yeah.
Regarding something, we just talked a little bit about Instagram and how you can't find your real self in it. I've been trying to treat every situation in my life as a lesson to be learned. And people will show you, or not what they will show you. Your perception will either be through the Prayas vision or the Prayas vision, your real self, or not.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The moment you check that it says Shreya's vision, Instagram is dropped.
Yes.
And when it is dropped, you are free.
Yes, and I'm seeing
people. No, don't see equality in Instagram. First, you drop it. First, you recognize. First, you realize the higher consciousness. Once you realize the higher consciousness, then you go after Instagram and go after anything instant. It will work. But first step is to realize the higher consciousness inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, you are evolving.
Thank you, sir.
How are you, Jerry? I'm sorry, Sam. Sometime I have to hold you, because I want to talk more than you. Yes, Jerry.
Thank you, sir. It was a great meditation. Deep, equal breathing through both nostrils. The flow is equal. The mind is like it's like an instrument. It's tuned to the knowledge. It's tuned to the awareness. It's tuned to the mantra. And as long as it's tuned there, then everything is very clear.
Yeah. And that is what another definition, you have already defined the delusion in a different way. Now there is no more delusion, and we live into that state. You will recognize that you are living in a higher awareness. Almost, it says that you have awakened to something new. That happens. Beautiful. How are you, Terry? I was just talking to Jerry about you, yes.
I'm all right. Just dealing with a lot of different things. But doing so.
Yeah?
Yeah. We are, it's, our radiators are way too hot. And preventing me from sleeping.
Yeah? It's okay.
But, I slept this morning.
Okay.
This morning. Instead of last. I'm still alive.
I am still alive, so I am also alive.
Yeah.
We both are alive.
And here we are.
Don't take your mind there that I'm still alive with a frustration. No, we all are alive in a different situation of the body, mind, intellect, ego.
No, I'm just doing one thing after the next.
You are peace and happiness. Wonderful. How are you, Stephen?
Thank you, sir. I'm great.
Oh my God, I just realized. I'm sorry, Steve, and I just realized the time thing.
Your time change. Okay.
I just figured it out. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Stephen, I'm sorry for
No, it's okay.
interrupting.
No worries.
You are so good. Yes, Stephen.
I found the lesson to be more than just coincidental. I had a conversation with my father last night, and he made a comment to me about this change in how I look at things and how I handle things. And he asked me why, or what's changed, and I said these exact words: is that my peace and happiness is my priority.
Yeah.
And here's this whole conversation that you talked about priorities. So my meditation was extremely deep.
Very good.
I really leaned into the peace and happiness and the truth of wisdom clearly through this. The only moments of recognition that took place is that when we were at the japa point of the meditation, I just felt my hand vibrating and the temperature difference between I was focused on my right hand. The temperature difference between my right hand and my left hand was profoundly different.
Beautiful.
And then that same vibration and warmth followed to the heart center.
Beautiful.
And then all of a sudden you're chanting Om Shanti, and I was like, well, okay, that was timeless. So all great. So again, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Stephen. What are you saying? You pick up anything, priority is there. So now priority, peace and happiness is a priority. It means I have to look inside. Why? Because after listening so much, I know that peace and happiness are my essential nature. That is what, Sam, I am saying. So when you recognize stress, you recognize peace and happiness are your essential nature. And then you have a priority. The peace and happiness is your essential nature, is a priority, not other stuff. So that is the meaning that you follow the shreyas. Wonderful. That is really good. And how are you, Christina? Yeah, I wanted to say something. So what happens, just for a minute, something popped up in my mind. There is a homogeneous, if I use the word, there is a homogeneous awareness the moment you wake up until you fall into sleep. In that homogeneous awareness, there is no point of duality and a conflict and anger or anxiety and a reaction. That state means now you are ready for an awakening. Yes, Christina.
Today's practice, I felt very absorbed from the very beginning all the way through, was deep and peaceful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All the way absorbed and doing it consciously, obviously. It has its result. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. What I took away from the lesson is that being able to set right priorities with a single goal in mind makes life organized and removes this ever busyness that we all have nowadays. So we just this business is just due to wrong priorities. When we know what we want, when our priorities don't change that often, then there is no place for any business. You just know what you want from this life and where you head into. And the other point, when the mind wants to react and I notice it, it is actually a pointer that there is something that there is impurity in the mind that I need to remove. So this is the meaning of this auspiciousness that you're talking about, as
Yes.
I understand, that every moment of negative, of what we perceive as negativity is actually a pointer to what we need to change in our mind. This is how this existence prompts us to evolve. Regarding the meditation, it was very comfortable and deep, especially at the end, and very distinct sensations in the fingers during the job.
Beautiful. You see that I learn from you when you share your experiences. Sometimes I don't have that expression. What he said, that pay attention to it. What he said, that when you have set the priority, means your goal of life is set. Now it is not going to change. The desires keep changing. Desires forces your mind to change. And when your priority does not change, you don't become fully busy. You are clear. And your busyness, if I am adding, I'm giving a different dimension to what you shared. Your busyness indicates there is an impurity in the mind. I am busy. For what you are busy? And how long you'll be busy? So once we think in that way, the entire thought pattern sets your mind right. It drops that impulsive nature of the mind. That is what the impurities are dropped. That is what we are talking about. It's a beautiful. Thank you, Dennis, for sharing your wisdom. So we are with Vaibhav. Where are you? Yes.
Thank you, sir. The mind was calm. Practice was good. It's like it's became a free choice that I can always be calm and peaceful with any situation. So
Yeah.
it remains almost easy.
Almost easy. Beautiful. Beautiful. You see that one day you will see that awakening has taken place, and it has taken place just like very easy thing you have in your life. Normally people, normally on the Google, when you Google out, you see that, oh, awakening is this. No. When we are a seeker, it is just a homogeneous awareness all the time. How are you, Brandy? Today you have brightness all around, Last time you have darkness.
I'm back at home for now. I'm good. From the lesson I drew kind of similar to what some other people have said, that but I'm articulating a little bit differently, that when your eyes are open, the challenge or the trap is the external, right? The body or just whatever's going on. But then in my meditation, when I got to the triangle, I realized it wasn't like what we see, it's the narrative, with what we see. It just occurred to me this, like, kind of like what Dennis said, much more articulately. You have to just kind of switch the narrative.
Yeah.
And the focus. Yeah.
So when you see that your narrative has changed, but how the narrative will change unless I contemplate and reflect first. But why I have to contemplate and reflect? First, I have to become aware what's going on in the mind. And then I know the narrative, how to change the narrative by these principles of Eastern wisdom. So you see, when you share the experiences, when everyone shares the experiences, you get a different perspective. That is what happens and brings the transformation in our life. Beautiful. Brandy, how are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. I was listening carefully to your lesson, and I think that you definitely do have to set priorities, but you also have to set boundaries, because there are some people that just feel they have to share everything with you, and they take up so much of your time. And I think you just have to put a limit to that, even though you don't want to be rude, you want to be compassionate, but I think you have to set boundaries at the same time.
Yes. You are right, Barbara. Yeah, sometimes I take it casually, just And I know how I set the boundaries. I do it in a different way. Not happy, but you are right, Barbara. How are you, Ashok? Dennis is also aware where he translates the session. So yes.
The meditation was good, peace and calm.
Yes.
And goal of life is once fixed, then the desire changes as you said.
Yeah.
तो सर डिजायर तो होती है ना, तो बच्चों की शादी है या किड्स मैरिज हो, किड्स स्टडी हो, किड्स एंड दैट, तो डिजायर का ऑलवेज देयर.
But desire is not a priority. Peace is a priority.
Peace is a priority. Peace and harmony is a priority.
So fulfill the desire while keeping in mind the peace is a priority.
Because for fulfilling the desires, we have to work accordingly.
But peace is in the background.
Yes, sir.
So peace is
and
not.
We have to prioritize, as Girish said, we have to prioritize our things.
No, priority is always peace, happiness. Priority is your real self.
Oh.
Because if you keep the desire as a priority, the desire keeps changing. That is our next lesson. It's a very interesting lesson. Yes. Yeah, very good. That's a good point. How are you, Sangeeta?
हाँ सर, बहुत अच्छा था, और सर डेनिस ने बहुत अच्छी समराइज किया.
Yeah.
बिजी, हम अपने आप को समझते हैं कि हम बिजी हैं, लेकिन मेन प्रायोरिटी हमारी पीस पर रहती है.
Yes. She has taken cue from the Dennis that she says, you look at the different expression. Every expression goes to the same thing. So what she is saying that we think we are busy, but the fact is our priority is peace and happiness. Out of that busyness, we want to extract that peace and happiness. Don't you see that? But because of the busyness, you cannot extract peace and happiness. But I'm taking 30 seconds more. I cannot have a priority of Instagram for peace and happiness. Peace and happiness is my priority. And that will put me into the Shreyas. I discussed about the Shreyas, what is right and good. Now what happens, your mind, now I'm going to Jerry and the Dennis also. So both of them, what you have said. So what happens, your busyness drops and you remind of your priority and your impurity drops by itself. Impurity in the body, I have to take a shower. So here the shower is discernment and dispassion, my friends. Understand it clearly. If I don't contemplate, it will never happen. If I don't contemplate, it will never happen. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again on.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste, everyone.